if it happens, it'll probably take effect next year. It will not put our status in jeopardy currently.
Mr. Hanlon, thank you very much for a very enlightening talk. Under our bylaws, presentations are supposed to be limited to 5 minutes unless there's a vote of the meeting. So next time, would you, if you have a major presentation to make, would you please ask for the leave of the meeting? My apologies, Mr. Moderator.
No problem. Would it be appropriate to ask town meeting to proceed?
How much longer do you intend to go?
$5 minutes or less.
5 minutes or less. On allowing Mr. Hanlon 5 minutes or less to wrap up his comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you,
that makes it legal. Mr. Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. All right, what was the $400,000 due? We do a town-wide assessment. First of all, the environmental impact report. We have to look at our surface waters, including those that feed any surface ponds that potentially can recharge our aquifer district. Don't forget, your subsurface systems are recharging in the ground and affect those waters. So failures are critical. Identify areas, not specific homes, but areas as a result of doing individual homes and neighborhoods. Identify those areas that will need, in a priority basis, alternatives, i.e. sewers, for relief. Prepare the preliminary collection and the facilities that would treat that sewer, associated with the cost estimates and cost recovery options, i.e. sanitary sewer district, betterments, whatever, that would be forthcoming as part of this study as well. Just a quick time frame. This will take 1.5 to 2 years to do. If we fast track and come back in here with those priorities, that areas that are service areas designated by DEP that can be sewered, we're talking 1.5 years out to design and then 2 to 5 years to implement, only because we'd have to build a treatment facility as well as the collection piping. And, you know, for you folks that are right there for yourself, these are the questions we know. If you haven't asked yourselves, you probably will. And the answers to that are an exercise of this project. As far as the capital planning, most of the town meeting is familiar with our pavement management and our water capital planning. Just a quick reminder of that process in terms of how we establish our CIP. That's our current water. And that's a pretty mature plan, as you all know. That's pretty well along, and town meeting has been very supportive of that. And this is an infant stage of primarily how we would look if we proceed tonight in terms of wastewater planning as a parallel initiative, much like our water planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon. Any further discussion? Mr. Mosseri? I think there was a gentleman over there who wanted to be recognized earlier. We'll recognize him next. Mr. Mosseri.
This is a question for Mr. Hanlon. I'm not sure that you answered the question of what happens if we don't fund this?
Mr. Hanlon, what happens if we don't fund this?
Excuse me, Bob. I thought I had, but if we don't fund it, then we can't go any farther than where we are right now in our planning initiatives to address wastewater facilities in this town. Is that the answer?
Mr. Mosseri, follow-up question.
I got that part of it, but I'm just wondering if we're under the gun with the DEP over some issue that we're trying to resolve, or are we just focusing on the development of commercial property and solving some of the problems?
No, it's, again, I went back to my slide in terms of Yes, in '91 it was an economic driven, but since the enactment of Title V, there's a lot of residential areas that are impacted, and that's really the driving force more now than any other issue is the Title V issue. That's accelerated the necessity to get where we are.
The gentleman with the beard was seeking recognition before Mr. Handon started talking, so we'll take him next.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Houle, 10 Cogswell Road. First of all, I want to say that I'm 100% in support of this article. I am from the Martins Pond area, and some years ago there was a study done of Martins Pond, and the biggest problem that the pond has is phosphorus nutrients seeping into the pond and causing undue growth in the pond. And that is very much from the septic systems. And as was mentioned earlier, a lot of the septic systems in the Martins Pond area are totally inadequate. My understanding is that some of them are pretty well equivalent to an upside down 55-gallon drum with some gravel underneath. So the septic is just really going right into the pond. And that's a real shame, because the Martins Pond is one of the most important recreational facilities that we have in town. It's the only pond that has public access. There's also obviously the Ipswich River that is to be considered, and the Ipswich River Park. I think that I was glad to hear that this will include the Martins Pond area, because the description of the article seemed to imply that it was only there was only current systems that you were going to be looking at, but certainly the Martins Pond area would fit in very well with the J.T. Berry site. And again, I would encourage everybody to vote for this. It's not going to cost the town very much at all, and it's going to be a big benefit for the whole town.
Thank you. Mr. Piero, and then we'll take the other microphone. We'll alternate.
17 Rogers Circle. Mr. Murray, ladies and gentlemen, the best thing I've here tonight. Don't you know the house is right on the water, Martins Pond? What did you expect? Did something new? They're right on the water. Where are they going to drink? Sewerage is the end. Something. You get rid of that. All these years, now you pinpoint Butters Road. Something has to be done, yes. That's the best money you can spend. Butters Road. You gotta have a sewerage or treatment plant or something. Human matter goes in the water, doesn't matter how you do it. And it has to be corrected once for all. People put that in your head, it has to be done. They stayed or not they stayed, it has to be done. If they stay to help, it's wonderful. I hope it helps. It should anyway. Thank you, Ms. Murray.
Mr. Sylvia. Please state your name and address.
Sylvia, 20 Francis Street. Pardon. What is the status with Essex? Sewage district.
In terms of us accessing it,
Yes.
we can't.
Why?
For the same reason we can't go GLSD or the MWRA route, because we're taking the water out of the river basin downstream, and we're not recharging in the headwaters of the Ipswich River.
Well, I doubt this recharge theory of theirs. Excuse me. The post office has tried to bribe us with $100,000. Hutch a dig. That's nothing. They knew this was poor land over there when they purchased that property. They took considerable tax property and just eliminated it. Walmart, we let them get in there, and their system has already failed. I mean, how long have they been there? Who's watching these things? The state is recommending to you that you do subsurface injection for disposal of the water. Is that right? That doesn't sound very good to me. Sounds kind of dirty, as a matter of fact. Now, we once voted here in this hall to join the Southern Essex Sewage District, or whatever it is. But because of one of our great town managers, that option was allowed to die for a few lousy bucks. Now, this, you talk about, we have a Board of Appeals hearing here pretty soon, and we have them almost every other week about building in water area, wet areas. But they keep right on going, keep right on approving them. We've lost almost all of our containment areas, and the next one will be the one at, I don't know what number it is, on Main Street there, where, about opposite the joke shop. But I'm sure the Board of Appeals is going to grant that one too. Just take a moment. I know that Reading is concerned over what's happening up here with sewage, and rightfully so, they should be. But I think that we have to start with if we're not allowed to discharge anywhere, this will not make any difference. I don't care what the state says or any of these hydrological surveys. We've had 1 million of them. You're not going to change when it's hot in August and July, the river's going to go down. Like right now in the spring, it's loaded to the whales. And I think this is very bad. I'm for sewage 100%, believe it or not, but I'm not for putting all this garbage back into the ground. Who's going to watch over it? If they're so concerned about their establishments over there, let them put in package plan. Let them show you some forward thinking to take care of it. No, they're going to buy us for $100,000, and they've already purchased us, as near as I can make out. I think that there's a lot of thinking that should be going on here that I don't think has occurred. Oh, the state's going to give us $400,000, no interest. Hooray! I think the estimate to sewer this town back 25 years ago was over $4 million. God knows what it is now. Thank you.
Mr. Bastian, please state your name and address.
Yes, Terry Bastian, 116 North Street in beautiful North Reading. I would like to encourage everyone to vote for this study, and I believe it is essential for the town of North Reading and the surrounding communities. My perspective on this is a little broad because I sit on the board of the Ipswich River Watershed Association, and this is an issue that all of us communities are dealing with, sort of the two-headed dragon, if you will, wastewater and water supply. I won't belabor you with issues about water supply, but I will let you know sort of geographically how this would play out for the town. Currently, right now, tonight, at the Reading Town Library, a public involvement plan is in process, a hearing dealing with 4 of the hazardous waste sites on Concord Street. There is, I believe, right now, a total number of 10. In order for those areas to be cleaned up, the property is going to have to be improved. Sewerage would do that. That's the environmental benefit to the whole watershed, and particularly for the town of Reading's water supply, and probably us too, with a chance of maybe even being able to reuse the furbished wells if that gets cleaned up. But also economically. I won't begin to describe how much more income in our taxes if we're able to develop that section. And I don't want to go into the issues, back and forth of